From clarkwoods.com, this is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 161. I am Chris.
And I'm Steve. And did me saying birds get in there right before you started talking?
No.
Damn it.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, there were birds. I was waiting. You sneezing just got into.
I just got boogies all over my shirt.
Oh, Steve, boogies. Steve, I feel bad for you, but I think this is all because maybe you drank a little too much last night. I heard a rumor. I don't know. I hear that drinking alcohol is poison. It's the devil. It can do all sorts of terrible things to you. And I'm just going to blame the alcohol because I am a teetotaler.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I have a friend who considers himself a teetotaler. He doesn't drink.
And not straight edge? I mean, isn't that the brand,
I guess that is our generation.
the brand name of a teetotaler?
The Brandex detergent of
No.
I guess straight edge teetotaler. I don't know if you went back in time. Maybe the teetotalers weren't straight edge. That's the thing. So maybe the teetotalers were too busy doing heroin and smack and jujubes and whatever, and snowballs and whatever else that they didn't have time to drink. All the other stuff was okay, but no.
Well, I mean,
that's probably not true.
Substances that are poison to you are probably something. I mean, they people who are straight edge and or a teetotaler or whatever,
mm-hmm.
they have a point. Like,
yeah. You have a point in avoiding sugar. Sugar's poison. Right?
Yeah, and
so is breathing. Eventually, we'll all die of breathing.
Yes, because our lungs won't be able to do it anymore. Or
catch us up.
Could you be more morbid right to start the show?
No.
I just sneezed and it got on my shirt.
It got on your shirt, and I felt bad for you, and I had to. Maybe you're allergic to your doggy cards.
No, I just had a little bit of a boogie.
A little bit of a boogie.
Fly out.
Would you say like little bit in terms of how would you describe the shape, the size, the
Did we
color?
say who we are?
We did.
Oh, okay.
We did.
I'm out of it.
You're a little out of it.
Yeah. I'm Steve.
You are,
and
Steve.
I'm out of it.
I'm Chris, and I'm not. It's Game of Thrones tonight, Steve.
Yes, it's the season finale,
Yeah.
And I remember earlier this year, completely disappointed me.
You thought this was it.
I thought this was the last season, and you're like, nope, there's one more. And I was
Yep.
like, what? And then I looked it up, and I was like, fuck you, you're right.
Yeah. Sorry, it's all my fault that there's one more season.
But it's obviously not your fault. But like,
wouldn't you say that? We don't know what's going to happen tonight, but wouldn't you say? Although all of you will know by the time you listen to this.
Yes, because it'll be like, well. Yeah, we can't give away spoilers for things that haven't happened yet.
Unless we were part of the HBO leak. Unless we were those guys. Maybe then we would know.
No, well...
Maybe we're pretending we don't know, and we actually do.
Well, I think the whole, next season was leaked, too, the scripts.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of bad...
I know that they leaked a lot of shit, but...
Gross.
And that there were people...
That was me this morning.
That was you this morning leaking a lot of shit.
I put our new the toilet in the new house here to the test.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine. And did it pass?
Yes.
With flying colors?
I wouldn't say flying colors. It was a little iffy, like the first flush, but
okay.
It made it.
All right. So it's maybe it's just got to get acclimated to you.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Well, I don't normally.
Maybe the people who were here before did not shit nearly as much as
I don't
you
shit
do.
like an epic amount. I usually shit once a day.
Well, but it's not the amount of times that you shit. It's the amount of shit you produce when you shit.
Yeah. Well,
right?
usually it's not that much because I shit often enough that it's not.
You just said you shit once a day.
Yeah, that's I think often enough to have not enormo shits.
Okay.
Why do we always end up talking about
I don't know.
bowel
Bodily
movements?
functions, it's maybe that should be part of the drinking game. If we start talking
about us pooping
or peeing or ejaculating or bleeding out.
I think very early on in the show, like the B-dubs evening, or I think one of the B-dubs evenings that I had, and I had like a volcanic mound of poo-poo.
Yes. Yeah. When your roses really smell like poo.
Gross.
No, all right. So like Game of Thrones is happening, and I don't necessarily want to talk about spoilers because I want people to be able to listen to the show.
Hey, your phone's ringing.
Oh, wonderful. That is That is somebody. It's not actually a real person. How do I know that? Because it's somebody calling from the same first 6 digits as me, and I don't literally know anybody.
Yeah,
who has the
I've
same
I've
first
seen
6
that
digits as
before.
me.
And I'm like, I'm not like if I don't recognize the number, I don't answer it.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about spoilers necessarily, but I'm interested in your take on how this season has been paced, because there's been some complaint about, and maybe I think we can still skirt around the spoilers.
Or pants around the score.
We could.
I've tried to. I was gonna say. I wanted to say spoilers, and I said scoiters, which is, I
Scoiters?
guess, is like a spoiler of a goiter.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
That's a bad portmanteau.
But there's been some criticism online about the pacing of this season. And then, of course, there's been specifically criticism around the timing of some of the events of the last episode, which I think we can talk about maybe without spoiling anything. The
it's
previous
just,
episode,
it,
not tonight's episode, which we know nothing about because we are not HBO leakers.
And I mean, for someone who watches a certain anime every week, I can appreciate when the story moves along quickly, because it usually does it.
Right.
But it's weird. This season has been like boom, boom, boom. Okay, oh, I'm here now. I'm talking to this person. Oh, now I'm over here now. Like I thought maybe it would take an episode or two for said person to get to point B. Nope, they're just there.
They're there.
I'm like, oh,
yeah. It's well, and whereas, and I think the trouble with that is that we have the previous seasons as precedent. Right, because these sorts of things that are happening just in the course of one episode used to happen as you expected they might over the course of 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah,
like somebody leaves from the rocky East Coast and arrives in the capital city. That usually is like they leave in episode 1 and they arrive in episode 3, and like they're not there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of like random dialogue as if they're traveling with somebody, or if they encounter somebody in their travels. There's like a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
but then nope, I'm just here. Oh,
yeah,
it's like Dice. He's like, I'm over here now. Who also has a show on Showtime.
Does he really?
Yeah.
It's
called Dice.
Oh, does it? We got any? What's her name? Jackson. Jackson, who was in the or the redheaded girl from Back to the Future. They were in that movie, Casual Sex with Dice.
Oh, he was in
Victoria Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Victoria Jackson. She a regular on the Dice show.
No, I only watched the first season. It was okay. I mean,
Leah Thompson. How about her?
No.
No, she's on this show that my wife watches. Called,
Natasha Leggero is in it.
Oh, I have no idea who that is.
She's a comedian, and
oh, okay, makes sense.
She's an attractive young lady.
Yeah. Dice's daughter.
No.
Okay, Dice's like love interest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Figures. Old man gets Anyway. That shit is weird. I'm reading Game of Thrones, like the first of the books, which is actually called A Game of Thrones, and
just one.
Yeah, it's fucking creepy. I know that they're dealing with the realities of they're alluding to the realities of sort of medieval Europe, but the ages of some of the people. Yeah, I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, and you were like, "Yeah, they're a lot younger in the books."
Yeah,
and then we went down a rabbit hole with Lolita and some other.
Yes,
shit.
we did. Young teacher.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the way it's been paced this time.
It's fast, but like I said, considering the other media I'm consuming regularly, it's refreshing to see. Something that's like, okay, they're moving the story along. And, I am slightly taken aback. I'm like, you guys could have just made another episode.
Yeah, they could have, but where does the tension go when you throw another episode in there? I don't know. I think one of the things I'm learning as I got comments back on my novel this week.
From whom?
From a former student of mine who has graduated now, and she was giving me feedback on it. And one of the things that I was learning from this is that there is a certain amount of narrative tension that I thought might carry over for like the whole second half of the book. But she gave me a comment that there was a point at which she was just skipping sentences because she wanted to see what happens next.
Oh.
And I think that is one of the dangers you run into. And one of the dangers they were probably trying to avoid in the pacing of this season is if you say, hypothetically, you have a bunch of your heroes on a rock in the middle of a lake. Hypothetically.
And one of them has to eat their leg to keep from starving to death?
I wasn't.
That is a drink right there.
All right, hold on.
How was your beverage, actually?
It's good. It's Yeti piss?
Yeti Mischief.
Yeti Mischief.
So
it might be Yeti piss.
The Polar, you're getting a plug, a free plug, so enjoy it. They have come out with these. Polar is a new. I think it's New England only.
I think so. They're spring beverage. As in like Poland Springs.
No, Polar.
Polar Springs.
No.
No.
Polar is a New England beverage company.
Yes.
They make a lot of seltzers and drink mixers and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they.
And winter is coming.
Yes, but they've recently
It's good for polar bears.
Released
or polar seltzers.
They have recently released a bunch of seltzer flavors that are nonsense,
including Yeti Mischief. You're drinking.
I'm drinking Unicorn Kisses.
Unicorn Kisses.
And I had heard about these. Like a couple of people from work were like talking about it, but I kind of put them in the back of my mind. And then I got home the other day, and Becky had bought like one of each of them. It was like the other one's I think Dragon Breath.
Dragon Balls?
Dragon Balls. Got to get all 7 of the balls.
Oh, yes you do.
And then fight James Marsters as Piccolo.
How are the Unicorn Kisses?
It is aptly named. Like this is what I imagine a unicorn kiss might taste like.
Oh, it did smell good, and it makes me want to go find a unicorn and kiss them. I mean, I don't think my wife would consider that cheating.
What if you're making out with a horse? Oh, sorry. I think the episode title is "Making Out with a Horse."
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be cheating if I stroked its horn. I think a little bit of mouth action,
or if you gave like
if I filleted the horn.
Oh
my god, that would hurt. I think that would hurt.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure you just do the tip.
Just the tip.
Yeah.
So a little bit of like a rim job. No, the rim job it would be its butthole.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Which I think yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't imagine its butthole would taste as good as that drink over there.
Yeah, I don't know. Be better. I heard they shit or puke rainbows, so it'd actually be good to give a unicorn or a unicorn
a rim job.
To give Unicron a rim job. Unicron a rim job. I am Unicron.
You get to listen to the voice
of Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
The only way like I could think of like doing an Orson Welles impression is to do like Brain from Pinky
Your
and the
position is highly dubious. No, I think that is one of his lines from that movie, but.
Yes, Pinky, we're going to take over the world. Because like Maurice LaMarche, the guy that does the voice of the Brain, he also does a pretty decent impression of Orson Welles.
Of Orson Welles.
Yes, they taste even better when you're dead.
Speaking of tasting better when you're dead, I mean, I imagine that your leg would taste better when you're dead, and then there would be no.
You can't eat your leg if you're dead.
No, I'm saying like your buddy's leg. Maybe your buddy died, and instead of him eating his leg, now you're eating his leg, and you're like, you know what? It was bad. It would have been bad if we had to eat his leg when he was still around, but now he's dead. So we're all on this rock in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of this lake, and maybe there are zombies around us, right? And so we're eating our buddy's leg. Which is okay because he's got a flaming sword, and we cooked his leg.
Now you're
over
doing
the
spoilers.
Over this. This is all hypothetical.
Hypothetical spoilers.
But if you then say that's the end of your episode, and then you do a whole other episode to chronicle what the hell happens between the moment that you send one of your buddies off to hopefully get you rescued, and then him coming back. Like, what is that? How do you make that middle episode interesting enough that people don't just skip over it?
Yeah, well, you can't skip over it if you're watching it week to week.
Well, but okay, so you don't skip over it, but how do you
Skip over it.
skip over it? How do you? I'm trying to make a point, but you're shitting on my point. You're
Yes.
dropping some shit.
Some unicorn shit.
I think that they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Like the situation that they built up to in the previous episode, by the middle to the end of that episode, was not a situation that you could leave hanging for a whole couple. I mean, you could have, because people are hooked on your show and they would just keep coming back. You're not going to lose anybody at this point. But if you really want to not betray their trust in you, I think you have to get right to it. Now, is the way that they did it the best way? Like, it does seem to strain credulity how fast everybody gets around in there. And I've seen their interviews trying to explain what their thinking was, and I don't necessarily buy it, but I don't know. Because I think it ties in with something that somebody said that I heard numerous people say earlier, like a couple weeks ago, that there was an episode that happened after a really epic episode that was mostly an episode of just people talking. There was a lot of character forward momentum, but not a lot of plot forward momentum. And I remember people criticizing that episode, and I wanted to come to its defense because I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was necessary.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just have constant action, like, because
No,
then you have no development,
And the action ceases to have any meaning when it's just one person punching another person.
hence like every fucking Transformers movie.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you're like, it's just robots fighting in space
And
or
like,
whatever.
why the fuck do I care?
Yeah, you don't care.
And I think that they could have run into that.
I want to care why the giant robot is fighting with the other giant robot,
and that's
I want to understand.
In order to do that, I need the voice of fucking Orson Welles getting a rim job, and Peter Cullen being the one to give it to him. And then lapsing into Eeyore all of a sudden instead of Optimus Prime.
Yes.
No, like the only successfy
Every spring,
movie,
Mrs. Buckley has peas that they pick at the peak of freshness. There's too many peas in this sentence. How am I supposed to?
I want the fuckers who make these Transformers movies to go back and watch the Transformers.
The
movie.
French
Watch
champagne.
that shit and realize how you make a Transformers movie. You introduce a little boy. He's our entry point into it. You introduce the speed talking guy from Micro Machines commercials. You get a whole bunch of other famous actors. You kill fucking Optimus Prime. Spoilers. Like this is how you do shit. And no, they don't. They don't listen to me. Of course, they make the big bucks. So why should they listen to me? I don't. But Steve,
there's a California champagne by Paul Masson that is both full-bodied and hold on.
I don't know what you're doing.
You don't remember those? You never saw the Orson Welles doing the Paul Masson
No.
wine? Oh my god, we got to do that after the show. It's only like 5 minutes.
My exposure to Orson Welles, and I said this to
Rosebud.
to my friend Gary Locke, who does a lot of theater in New Hampshire, and loves and is obsessed with Orson Welles. I told Gary that my first exposure to Orson Welles was him doing the narration for a special on Nostradamus when I was a kid. That was my exposure to him. He scared the shit out of me, and that special scared the shit out of me. My grandmother had to talk me down from a panic attack at a very young age. And then my second exposure to him
Was
or pretty
Transformers.
much at about the same time was Transformers the movie, and I never saw anything else with him. And then I went ahead and did a fucking play about the making of the War of the Worlds with Gary, and admitted this, and everyone wanted to like shoot me. No, they wanted to educate me. They're like, oh, you got to watch this one and this one and this one, and I learned a lot about Wells.
Did you watch Citizen Kane?
No, never. I've never watched anything with Orson Welles in it, except for Transformers.
Wow. Well, I
which
mean,
I've
this
seen a
is
lot.
this is later in his career where he's just doing ads
Right.
to make some money. So he does an ad for Paul Masson, sparkling sparkling wine.
It sounds like a
And
thrilling career
no,
choice.
what we're going to watch, and you can put a link to it in the show notes.
Oh, in the show notes.
What we're going to watch is the outtakes for that particular ad.
Oh, okay. All right. I consider myself prepared. What do you think's going to happen tonight, Steve? Do you want to make any predictions for what's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't think.
And we're not going to insert Steve's voice from after tonight's episode in here. That's not something we would ever do.
Yeah, it's not like we would do that during
a Super Bowl or anything like that. No. So this is actual predictions. Like what do you think might happen?
I don't think that. I think that this will be another one of those because like last week was another one of those episodes where crazy shit happened, like action shit happened.
Yeah.
And usually you don't have two of those in a row.
Yeah, I found
And in last season, like the Battle of the Bastards was the second to last episode.
It's actually, I think that's a pattern, and it's not always true, but for a lot of the seasons, I remember because I got into it late, and as I was watching it, that was the pattern I was seeing. Is it was always the second to last episode.
I think that
had
was
the
like
crazy shit.
like the Red Wedding. I think was the second to last episode.
Might have been, yep.
I kind of want to rewatch it because like
I mean, I
there's
think,
so many things I forgot about. When occasionally they'll show something in the previously on Dragon Ball Z, like
and like sometimes it's the second episode something of the season, something really crazy happens, and then it slows down. Like Joffrey, I think, was the second episode of that season, where at Joffrey and Marjorie's wedding, but I can't remember when when Cersei's explosive decision happened last season.
that was the last episode.
That was the
I think.
last episode.
So maybe because like there was
So it's not always,
But that was
very
like
often
there wasn't a lot of like other things going
in that episode.
in that episode. It was basically the build up to the explosion. So it wasn't like I don't know. It was that's hard to describe as a very action heavy because it wasn't.
No.
Like
but the very beginning of it had a very action heavy beat, which was that I think that the explosion that we're talking about happened at the beginning of that episode. I think you're right. I think that there's not going to be a ton. I think that the preview for this week's episode suggests that you have a whole bunch of people gathered in one place and that there's potentially a lot of talking. I have one prediction, and I wonder if I can. I don't wonder if we
say
can
it without being spoilery.
Well, see, yeah.
Do you want to put like a
Maybe we should say if you it would be a spoiler for the previous episode, which I've already kind of.
yeah. Let's just say skip to 25.
We got to remember that we've got a different number than they're going to have because of the
Skip
the
like
theme
skip
song.
about a
skip about a minute.
All right,
So
ready? Quickly.
skip a minute. I think the dragon that the Night King has. I think it blows up the wall. I think they reach the wall, and I think
that the dragon is going to breathe ice, so I don't know about that.
See, that's what I'm torn about. I think we're gonna see what happens with that dragon this episode.
Yeah, I
Does
think so.
not know.
I don't know, like because like it needs to ramp up. Like that threat needs to ramp up because it's
Well,
like
that's why
it's been constantly a threat through the entire series.
Right, and if next season is the last season, I think that's why I think even though my first impression was it'll breathe ice, just like you just said, I think it's going to still breathe fire, and I think they're going to reach the wall, and they're going to somehow there's going to be an army there to try and stop it, but then it's going to lurch out of the forest, and they're going to be like, holy shit, it's going to fire, boom, wall, at least that part of the wall gone.
No, but like I don't think it would benefit them benefit the White Walkers or whatever.
maybe we should have said skip. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think it would benefit them to have something like burn things, because that would eliminate the things that their never-ending army.
That's true, but it's on their side.
Well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I don't know. I'm very excited to see it. I think one thing I can say, right? Because I think we're past. I think people have, if they skipped, they're safe now. One thing I can say is that I've been watching. I always used to watch it on Monday mornings. So once I caught up on it, once I actually got into it and then caught up on it, I would always watch it on Monday mornings. I wasn't going to stay up late. But a couple weeks ago, I realized that I could go on to the HBO Go website, even a few minutes into the episode, and start it from the beginning, rather than go downstairs to a TV that had HBO on it and have to miss the first few minutes. I realized, I can just sit at my computer, turn on HBO Go, and I can watch it from the start. So if I had been online, which I wasn't, if I'd been on Twitter or whatever, I would have been getting spoiled because I was 5 or 10 minutes behind everybody. But as it was,
you just leave your phone in the other room.
I just finished up 5 to 10 minutes after everyone, and then I got to.
You could actually finish it earlier, because you could skip something. You could skip to the end, be like.
I could, yeah.
Like the people that read the last page of a book.
I am one of those people, but I don't do that in this case. I don't know why. I guess I could have. I thought about it. I was like, I guess I could skip to the end here and see what happens, but. Because I really don't believe in spoilers, but whatever. Some people do.
Fake news.
It's stupid. I mean, the fear of knowing how things end. And actually, going back just a minute, one of the things that former student of mine who read the book, has got me thinking about is whether or not I could get away with giving away the ending. It's one of the things I tell them. I teach them in class. I'm like, well, sometimes you need to just come right out and tell us what the hell the ending is, and then the suspense is gone, but it becomes not as much about. Oh, sorry, the surprise is gone, but you can still work with the suspense, right? Because we're still wondering, how are you going to get to that moment?
Speaking of your book, what was it called again?
Missing Mr. Wingfield.
Okay, and when is it available?
October 24th. I finally announced.
But if you go to clarkwoods.com, you can pre-order it, right?
Yes. I don't see. I revised the term pre-order, because here's the problem, and I did finally start to see some of those coming in, so that was very gratifying for me. But I think a lot of people think of the word pre-order as the website takes their credit card number but doesn't charge it yet. Doesn't charge it until it's going to be fulfilled. And my website doesn't have the ability to do that. So I took the word pre off of it, and I just made it order. Because
did you put a note in there that say you will be charged now?
Well, I think
there's no coming back.
I mean, and I can refund anybody that decides later on they don't. I mean, that's easy enough. It's just that the Stripe, which is what powers my site's commerce thing, as far as I can tell, there's no way for me to say, just save this card and we'll charge it at a later date.
All right, so
I think I'm glad of that, because that's kind of a security thing. I don't want to be responsible for, even tangentially responsible for keeping somebody's card on file for 2 months.
So just order it and buy it, and he'll charge you money, and then when it comes out, it's a physical copy, right?
Yes, physical
copy.
You get a
physical copy.
E-copies too.
You can get an e-copy if you want, and I was recently reading an article that was written about the brothers Chapman who did Homestar Runner.
Oh, okay.
The website, and they occasionally do cartoons on the website now. I think that one came out like a month ago or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But they were doing the website for a while, and for a long while, like from the early aughts on until I think maybe 2007. I think 2009 was when they basically got too busy with real life kids and other jobs and quote unquote real jobs
Right.
that they couldn't really maintain the site anymore.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when they were because like they made their money for the site like by selling T-shirts and shit.
Yeah.
Because which made it that they were able to keep the site ad free.
Yeah.
Which they really liked. And one of the things in the interview that they regretted was like not promoting the fact that you could actually buy shit.
I know, and it's something I'm terrible at. It's something that we tend to be terrible at because we have a donate link that we actually have pretty good results with when we remember to mention it.
Yes. So we also have a donate link.
Yeah.
You could buy Chris's book and donate to the podcast all in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was funny because like they were talking like because like their dad helped them out for some time. And it's like, why don't you just put a little thing at the end of the cartoon like that says buy a fucking Strong Bad T-shirt?
Yeah.
Without the F word. And then there was one that they had Cheat Commandos. It was like a G.I. Joe like kind of cartoon that they made with little guys that look like the Cheat. And if you don't know what the Cheat looks like, just imagine a block of cheese.
I imagine that.
Yeah.
Munster or American or cheddar or provolone.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Well, not provolone because that would be in like a tube shape.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like a segment of cheese.
A segment of cheese.
And they had these Cheat Commandos, and it was like G.I. Joe guys, and they had them on their website for sale.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was at the end of the cartoon put a link to, and it would go right to their store.
Right.
And you could buy these fucking things. And I think there was somebody that emailed them and they were like, I love the Cheat Commandos and I wish there was toys. And then I realized that 10 years later that there actually was toys that I could have bought. And they were like, yeah, we kind of dropped the ball on that one.
Well, and that's the thing that I've realized. Even if I just end up selling my books to my students or my colleagues, that would be a thing, right? Because they all hear me talk about writing all the damn time. And if I just remember to say, oh yeah, you can actually get my book, then
You could make it part of your curriculum.
well, not make it part of my curriculum. I used to work with a person who was very unabashedly said, you should require your book of your students, like make them buy it. I'm like, that feels weird. And it still feels weird. I'm like, that's not something I would necessarily do, but
Got to buy it, Chris's book.
no, but the other thing, I wonder if they would say something about this or other creators like them. I'm talking about the fact that I'm doing edits to the book right now when the book is due out in 2 months, right? That is not something that I would have any possibility of doing if I were going the traditional route. The book would have been locked up and done months and months and months ago. And this whole portion would be, I don't know. And I like the notion that I can be very limber. I don't know if that's the right word. I should, because I'm a writer. But I can be very
I don't
flexible.
know about words or anything.
I don't know about words, but buy my book. I feel like I can be very flexible about if somebody gives me a great idea, which this student, former student who read the book gave me a lot of great ideas. I can actually work some of those things in. I have time to still do it.
You should do a little Photoshop of you. You put your head on Jay Sherman's body on the little thing where him going, "Buy my book, buy my book, buy my book." It gets more annoying every single time you tingle. I can't talk today.
Every tingle times I say it.
Tingle.
Yeah. So anyway, but there were other things we were going to talk about today, including. Speaking of Strong Bad, did we say something about Strong Bad? No.
I did, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of Strong Bad, we have email.
Oh yeah, we have email.
We have two emails.
Set a little time away for fucking emails.
Fucking emails.
Although that's one of the great things about Homestar Runner is that he didn't curse. Like occasionally he would talk about drinking cold ones or whatever, but it was something that wasn't raunchy, but the humor was still great. and it was something that you could have kids watch, but also adults could watch it and also find it entertaining.
I long to do that someday.
Like have like
Make something. Well, make something funny. I mean that.
you'll get there, Chris.
But B, make something funny that my kids can.
So you're not just sitting on stage in your bathrobe, in your undies or whatever, screaming about fucking and
no, yeah. I mean, not. I mean, someday maybe they'll be able to watch those things, but
I don't know if I'd be comfortable like having. Like I don't have children, but like if I had children, like having them come to a play or whatever that I was doing or in, that just talks about sex a lot.
No, I don't. Well, I doubt that they would be that comfortable going to a play in which their dad talked about sex a lot. But maybe somewhere down the line they'll read something of mine and go that was okay. It's a little weird.
Like do something like Patton Oswalt, your hero, he did Ratatouille, which I imagine his daughter very much likes. Yeah.
First email.
They're very short ones.
They're very short ones, but I think that there's
a couple from friend of the show Matt
for discussion here. Friend of the show Matt wrote us on Monday to ask us, Dear Stevie.
I don't know why he's just obsessed with calling me that.
Dear Stevie, which phrase do you feel ickier saying? A, comes in handy, or B, he's rubbing off on you?
I don't often say he's rubbing off on you, but I do enjoy saying comes in handy.
Does he come in his handy when he's rubbing off on you?
You
I ruined it.
Yes.
Oh.
Comes in handy. Like that's actually one of my favorite expressions.
It makes me think of the mascot from Hamburger Helper, which is a white glove with a smiley face on it, who looks like he's just been cummed in.
Do they still advertise that?
No, not a lot. I mean, I think
maybe our parents are the only people that still buy it.
My mom used to make it a lot. She has not in recent years. We used to buy the generic version a lot, especially when Kaylee was little, and even into the Melody years. But we have not bought it anytime recently.
My dad has a very strict food schedule, and Sunday night is either pork chops and some sort of canned vegetable, either peas or corn.
Okay.
Or I think sometimes chicken.
Yeah.
And peas or corn.
When is Hamburger Helper night?
Hamburger Helper. Well, I'm going to go through the week.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Sunday. Jump the gun.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if we were going to get the whole report. I just wanted to make sure we got
Monday is hot dogs and macaroni and cheese.
Okay. That makes sense.
And Tuesday is Hamburger Helper night.
Okay. Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day?
It is, in fact.
My mother said that to the kids yesterday, and they were like, what are you talking about?
It's a thing from an ad from when I was a kid that you've never seen.
All right, so to recap so far, since we got pork chops and canned vegetables, or chicken and canned vegetable on Sunday.
Yeah.
We got hot dogs and mac and cheese on Monday.
So the only vegetable we've eaten all week is on Sunday.
We've got Hamburger Helper on Tuesday.
Yep.
We got Prince Spaghetti Day on Wednesday
with some ragu or whatever.
Okay, right. And
I think they just buy the Hannaford brand.
Right. That stuff's not terrible.
And we're getting local for you. That's only in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and I think maybe a little bit in Vermont.
Maybe. All right. So what's Thursday?
Thursday is they go out.
Okay.
But they go to the same sub shop. They go to Jimmy's in Chelmsford Center.
Jimmy's. Oh.
That used to be right across the street from Hot Comics.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, the Hot Comics used to be right across the street from it. It still exists.
Jimmy's is still
Hot Comics does not.
Yeah.
Hot Comics.
Hot Comics. No,
hey, that's
relation.
Funny. That has nothing to do with us. But
us. Place smelled like cat piss.
Was there a cat there?
Yes.
No, that's
and
probably
a poorly ventilated bathroom where you could go to the bathroom and smell the cat's litter box.
Was there a window in the bathroom?
No.
That's
probably... It was basically a closet with a shitter in it.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it was.
Were they living in there?
Yeah. I can say that now, right? Like,
yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
they had there's actually a story I wrote in part inspired by them called. No, Eddie's House is the name of my friend Andy's song. What the hell is it? I don't know. It's a story. It was in the anthology River Muse: Tales of Lowell in the Merrimack Valley, where I talk about it. So they had a mattress that they kept underneath the orange burlap tablecloth that they had the long boxes of comics on.
Okay.
And in fact, sometimes one of the female proprietor of the store would be sleeping under there during the day
Like while there was people in the
while
store.
there were people in the store.
That is fucking weird. I remember my mother and her boyfriend at the time were watching a little league game over at the ball fields over there. They just went for a walk and they decided to sit and watch the game.
Yeah.
And I think the two proprietors came out and had a rip roaring argument.
Oh, that was their thing. Yeah. And I was party to that, or not party to that, but I was around for a lot of those and stuck in the middle of a lot of those. And
Oh, you poor thing.
it was not a great scene, that particular comic book store. But I met one of my longest running friends there, my friend John, who I used to do Generation Goat with. I met John through them. So
Really? That's how you guys met? You didn't meet at school?
No, we met through them. When he, I don't even know if he had originally. I don't think I'm getting talking out of school here. He was originally from Lowell before he started to go to school in Chelmsford with us. So I think when I met him, he still wasn't even going to Chelmsford schools, or he had just started, and it was the year that I was in the high school, but you guys were still
Okay,
middle
so
school.
it was like we were in 8th grade or whatever, and you guys were...
and I was like a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, no, I met him through the comic book store. That's probably the one. I mean, and my friend, I'm not really great friends with Ken anymore, but my friend Ken, I also met through them. And of course, it was through Ken that my romantic life, such as it was, began, because he introduced me to the girl who was my first quote unquote girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, but not a great scene there at the Hot Comics. So your dad goes to Jimmy's Pizza
On Thursday nights.
on Thursday nights.
And Friday is fish sticks and tater tots.
Okay, keeping it
veggie free still.
Well, but keeping it Catholic or keeping it Christian. Right?
Yeah, Catholic.
By doing the fish. On
I think
Friday.
it's only the Catholics that don't eat fish on Fridays.
I know. I remember at Bradford, which was not necessarily a Catholic school, but my college only served fish on Fridays.
I'm not like one up on that is read up on the Bible, but like.
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense is that?
I don't know.
It's like, don't eat meat on Fridays?
Yeah, there's something about it. I don't know where it comes from.
Oh, wait.
But...
I just it took me a second. There's crazy shit in the Bible, apparently.
No.
I
Steve,
just realized
really?
this.
All right, what happens on Saturday?
Saturday they go out again,
Okay.
but they go to Applebee's.
Applebee's, okay.
Which apparently millennials are killing.
Yes, it's all millennials' fault. Not that it's subpar food. Actually, I don't know. I enjoyed Applebee's the last time I went.
I don't mind like an American meal or whatever, but like
Yeah.
there's a place that they can walk to that I usually try to take them, you
Yeah.
know, when on Father's Day or whatever.
Yeah.
That's right up the street.
Yeah.
The Glenview.
Oh yeah.
Why not go there and support like a local business that's been
Yeah.
there for fucking not centuries but decades,
Well, I think my
as opposed to some fucking like corporate bullshit terrible
speaking
food.
of the Glenview, I think she's still there. My friend Stacy's friend was for the last
does that
couple
make
of
you?
years.
Absolutely nothing.
She was the karaoke DJ there at the Glenview.
As of recently?
Recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have to go over there and
Yeah.
do some karaoke and see your friend's friend.
Yeah. Well, and I'll have to tell my friend that we're going then, because
And so maybe she might go.
Because she might go.
Oh, okay.
She's invited me a couple of times, and I don't know if it's like on Saturday nights or Friday nights or whatever it is. That
That seems like an odd night to do karaoke because like Saturday nights and Friday and Saturdays are not nights you typically need to bring in people.
right.
Like usually those nights are the ones that were like you
Oh,
don't
so
have
maybe
to
it's
worry.
the middle of the week. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty right, and that is the schedule. They stick to that schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'll throw a wrench in there and be like, "I'm taking you out to a place that's different."
And they're like, no, what are we gonna do?
I mean, I know where I get my OCD from.
Right. Well, my mom had the same sort of I don't
Maybe
know,
it's just
5 or
our-
10 meals that she cycled through, but
It was less regimented.
it was less
the day
regimented.
Of the day of the week.
The only day of the week thing was that Friday was Zesties night,
Yeah.
and still is. Like Zesty pizza, family tradition going back as far as I can remember. And so Friday.
And at least it's a fucking local place.
Yeah.
I don't know why my dad is obsessed with Jimmy's though.
I don't know why. So
I remember going there when we would go to Hot Comics.
Well, and the thing is that the people who ran Hot Comics didn't like Jimmy's either. We would walk down to Zesties,
Which was further than it is now.
right. Now it wouldn't be so bad at all.
Yeah,
It's,
it'd be a pretty quick walk.
but we would walk down to Zesties to get something. Or often because they were so broke, their breakfasts.
Well,
were,
considering they were living, like how much? Like, do you know how much they paid for rent in that
don't-
place?
I
Because it
don't,
was like
but
a closet up there.
It was hot. Which is not how it got the name. It was not. It wasn't the smallest comic shop I've ever been in, but it was pretty close. I don't know. It was not. They were probably not pulling in a ton. Because of the location. It was on the second floor.
And no one knew. Like, I mean, I think the only crowd. I mean, the only reason I knew about it because we used to do the laundry at the laundromat there.
Yeah.
And it's no longer there, but
Right.
but that's why I knew about it, and I would be like, "Hey, can I go across the street and look at comics?"
Yeah.
while we're doing
I mean,
laundry.
it was not a terrible location. It's just like if that could have been on the first floor or something, would have been
Next to
way,
the nail salon or whatever the fuck else was
whatever
there
it
at
was.
the time.
Just first floor traffic would have been. I mean, they still have trouble filling that top floor. I
don't
drive
think there's
by
anything in
and,
there now, yeah.
Like I know for a while, either the nail salon or the hair salon had extra stalls up there. So like you would go in the bottom floor, and then maybe they would take you upstairs.
Let's go there. Let's check it out. Let's see. Let's rent it out. We'll call it our podcast space. Let's see how much it's
my
going
God.
for these days.
Yeah,
That'd be dumb.
Anyways, we could talk about that store someday. I got lots of memories about that.
Why not now?
Well,
We've got 15 minutes
We do
left.
have 15 minutes, but we had one more email from Matt.
Oh yeah, we can get to that, and maybe we can get back to hot topic, hot comics.
All right. Second email from Matt came to us on Tuesday. Came the next day. So when I saw that there was another one,
Maybe he listened to half the show and then listened to the other half of the show.
because the second email has the subject line "Damn it, guys."
Yeah.
Matt writes, "Damn it, guys. Just get a fucking ice cream cake then. Stop buying regular cake if you hate it so much."
I don't hate regular cake so much. I just don't like the uneven frosting distribution.
It's your OCD. Maybe you should be a baker.
No.
You should be a baker because then all of our shit that we would all come to you for our baked goods.
I don't like making food.
I don't like making food either.
Like, but when I was living by myself, I just ate the same thing every night. Like, I just had some pasta and like some the Barilla like omega-3 good pasta and like some sauce every night.
Every night.
Occasionally,
I think if I were
occasionally I'd be like, you know what? I'll get something else because
if I were by myself, I would probably be doing pretty much the same thing, or I would be I'd be eating out every damn night.
Yeah, which I didn't want to do. So that's that. I know I wanted to make something simple because I hate cleanup, and so like only doing a couple of pots is fine. The little pot for the sauce and a larger pot for the pasta.
Do that. That's why I wouldn't have pasta every night because I hate even having to clean one.
So
pot.
you'd rather just like we can get things the microwave dinners, but I would eat those for lunch, but those things are garbage.
They are garbage. They used to be my bread and butter, if you will.
Would you eat bread and butter?
No. I would eat all the various pasta type things, but
okay, so back to cakes. I do like cakes.
Yeah.
But I don't like ice cream cake very much.
I don't know if I
because
don't
it's
know
like
if I like ice cream cake any more than I like regular cake. I know what I get when I was in college. It started to be a thing.
You want to get a cookie puss?
Not a cookie puss, but my friends, and then later my wife, and then I think even one time my parents would get me a giant pizza pan sized cookie. So like a cookie, they'd go to the
Like
bakery.
from the Mrs. Fields? Or
I don't
or-
know where they necessarily got it, but at least a few times that was my birthday cake because I love a chocolate chip cookie, and so they're like, why waste money on buying a cake? We'll just go out and get him a fucking chocolate chip cookie.
That reminds me of an episode of The Simpsons, and this was in the golden age of The Simpsons, where like the one where Homer, like they took home the party sub, and he kept on eating it, and like
Yeah.
it was like getting like old and purple and moldy.
But he kept
eating it. And he
on.
got really, really sick, and they were supposed to go to Itchy and Scratchy Land or whatever.
Oh,
And,
fucking Homer.
And he got sick because he was eating that old gross sub.
Not doing it on purpose though, right? Like
No, he wasn't doing. He just
wanted to eat
kept he kept on eating it because he wanted to eat it, not because it was going to get him sick and get him out of going to an amusement park.
Did Homer ever do one of those like if you eat all of this big giant steak, it's free things?
He did.
Because I that when you mentioned that made me think of
The Great Outdoors.
Great Outdoors, and Candy does it right there. John Candy does that, and they're trying to get him to, his supposedly rich in-laws are trying to get him to do it because they want to get the free meal. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
I gotta watch that movie again. I love that movie.
But yeah, and like the place you would get an ice cream cake is like Carvel, and I don't think they have like Carvel stores anymore. You can get Carvel cakes at like
Right.
the grocery store, but I've never really cared for them that much. And like the gel icing on an ice cream cake, gross.
No. I remember when I was getting married that was actually a big to do. We had a wedding that was fairly unconventional in a number of ways and fairly conventional in other ways, and so it was constant back and forth. And we really did not want, especially Stephanie, who doesn't like cake at all, we didn't want a traditional cake, and she was looking at all sorts of different things. But eventually, somebody talked her into just getting the regular cake because
I don't remember if it was a cake or not. That was a long
because
time.
we had to feed so many people, and she was talking about like not upside down cake, bundt cake, no, what?
Bundt cake.
Not bundt cake. I don't know. Like she was talking about very soft sponge cake type things that she likes. That like she'll eat like a cake type thing with like strawberry sherbet. I mean, not strawberry sherbet.
Like
but
a strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake or something like that. She'll do that. And she was trying to figure out some way to do something like that, but eventually somebody convinced us just get a regular fucking cake, and we did, and it was
Get
fine.
it from Market Basket.
No, we
It says
we went to
congrats. It said congratulations.
No, we went to some fancy place in Nashua or Hudson or somewhere up there. Frederick's Pastries, I think. Why am I giving them a plug? Almost.
They, if they're
many
good,
years
they might still exist. And
I think they do. No, they do a good. They do. A
but
good
they
cake.
don't make cakes for homosexuals.
Or maybe.
No, that is completely false. I don't know.
We're
Maybe
sorry, Fredericks. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
Yeah, there was because there was that to do a couple years ago with that cake place.
Yeah,
in the Midwest or whatever.
Or down in Indiana, right?
Yeah, that's Midwest, right?
I guess. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we didn't go there. There was maybe we looked there and decided not to, because I think where we might have eventually went was the bakery that was next to Donnellan's, getting local for you. The
one over
in Littleton, Mass. There was a bakery that was right next door. Then I think got absorbed into it, and then it closed. I don't know, because I remember as a kid I loved their chocolate chip cookies. And then we went back in there around that time we got married, maybe looking for cakes and stuff. And I got to get one of their chocolate chip cookies as an adult. And it was heaven. It was amazing.
I remember that
And then they
Purity
closed.
Purity Supreme had really good chocolate chip cookies.
I wish I could remember the recipe, like what made this particular cookie good. There was a place when we lived in Dracut that was, I think, a satellite, like the same kind of bakers, or maybe they were the same kind of bakers that used to be.
Was there a
at
butcher and a baker and a candlestick maker right in the same place?
No, I think they missed the boat on
See,
that.
like out of those three jobs, you could still have two of those. I don't think like. I'm going to college. I'm studying candlestick making.
Well, pretty soon when they genetically create your meat, you're not going to need a butcher.
Yeah, I guess not.
You know, when you can print it from your 3D printer.
I think I think I brought this up with your brother once because I mean he's vegan and
Yeah.
and I think he was okay with eating that if it was never alive.
Yeah, if it never hurt an animal.
Yeah.
But the thing is I wonder if you could, like, how did they figure out how to make it the way that they did? Like if you traced it back, could you then say that, well, they figured out the formula for making this particular fake meat by killing a cow way back? I mean, maybe I'm just spoiling this for my brother. Maybe he's just
Don't worry, he doesn't listen.
I'm just waiting for this time when he's finally going to be able. He told me once that a steak and cheese sub from Zesties, if he was on the East Coast and he decided to not be a vegan anymore, steak and cheese sub from Zesties. If he was on the West Coast, it would be In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's still true.
Well, the I think it was Comedy Bang Bang I was listening to recently. Then they were talking about like things that aren't good. No, it was Bill Burr. He was talking about like things that aren't good on the West Coast. Like he said, pizza is garbage out there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think Chinese food. Oh wait, no, maybe Chinese food
might be all right.
I think it's good. I think Chinese food is good. There, New York, and I think in this area.
Yeah. It would make sense.
But anywhere else in the country,
because of the proximity to China.
I remember, well, not necessarily, but
well, I mean, it would be, well, you'd at least possibly get more authentic Chinese. You might not get authentic American Chinese food, the kind of Chinese food that we like to get.
Grew up on, yeah.
But you might get people from China who had emigrated to. They emigrated from China, immigrated to the U.S. On the West Coast. I would think that would be a place where you could get.
Yeah, I think the Southern California has decent Chinese food.
Yeah,
but what else sucks over there? I forget what he was saying.
Pizza, bagels.
Yeah, bagels. He said like, oh yeah, he's like anything that has to do with bread is not so good.
Yeah.
in Southern California.
I would imagine. Yeah,
but bagels are great. You know, in New York, and you know,
right.
We had a bagel place today. It was pretty all right. It wasn't as good as
my very first bagel was in New York. Did you know this?
Wow.
I never had bagels until I was how old was I? 19, 20?
What?
I never had a bagel, and I was visiting friends in the New Year's Eve time frame, 97 into 98, and my friend on Long Island. We stayed at her house, and her mom bought us this huge bagel spread for the morning after.
You got a schmear on it too?
I forget what. I mean, I still to this day don't do cream cheese. I probably just had butter on it.
I mean, I like a bagel sandwich, but
yeah.
That's what I had this morning. But the Bagel World, we're giving all the free plugs.
All
today.
the free plugs.
Bagel World in Reading, close to where we used to live, was really good.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was always a fucking shitty line.
I used to like
because it was good. I mean, that's one of the dangers. Brugger's.
No. Einstein Brothers. I used to like Einstein Brothers, and
was that the one that had the little like they put it on a conveyor belt and it would like slice it like?
I don't know, but I know.
I don't know if that was Brugger's or Einstein's.
They had one in Drum Hill in Chelmsford, still getting local for you,
yeah.
And they had one nearby. Was it nearby the? How fucking dorky I am. I think they had one in Dorchester nearby the Vital Records office, where I would go when I was doing my genealogy research, because I am a boatload of fun.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna.
I think it's because I had too much fun at Hot Comics back in the day.
We need to bring that, like, put that on the list.
I'll put it on the list.
Put it for next week, unless
unless
the world does, or the world gets in the way, and our dipshit president does even more dipshittery that we want to yell about. But we try to avoid doing it.
We avoided it until just now.
We try to avoid doing it because, like, I mean, I don't know about you, Chris, but I think, when people listen to a podcast, a lot of times they want to escape from the shittiness of the world.
Yeah.
And, that's something that we were very aware of.
Mm-hmm.
When we were doing, like, when the election happened,
Yep.
it was something we could not avoid talking about because it was upsetting us.
Yeah.
To the point where
because I think people want to escape, but they also want the people doing the podcast to be true.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so we typically avoid talking about it, and this is a little inside baseball, but we try to avoid talking about it because we want to give you guys something else, like whether it be us, talking about like a comic book shop
That's been
that we
closed
went
for like 20 something years.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely agree.
or my dad's weird eating habits.
Yeah, it's because I mean I'm certainly thinking about Texas and the flooding and stuff that's happening down there because of the hurricanes and
I mean, you guys, what you could do is you could go to clarkwoods.com, donate to us, and then right after that,
yeah.
you could go to the Red Cross and donate to the Red Cross in our name.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one. The only see, I think the way that you do it, and maybe we can look into this. Is the one podcast I listen to that gets political is a podcast called Do by Friday, and the way that they do it is by making you roar with laughter for at least like a good 15 minutes before they get anywhere near the politics, and then
Well, I don't think we've ever made anybody roar with laughter for 15 minutes.
Then they get into politics, but then before they leave, they're making you roar with laughter again, and I think so. It's a laugh. Well, it's a shit sandwich on laughter bread.
Oh, I gotta say one thing. We're gonna go a little bit over, but last night we were at a fun spot for a late birthday celebration for me, and we were talking about pizza, and the people we were with were vegan, and they have ways to get pizza. Like I think Papagino's is doesn't use any sort of egg stuff.
Portland Pie Company, I discovered when my brother was in town. Portland Pie Company has a few
up in Nashua.
Yeah, there's Nashua, Portland, there's not necessarily Portsmouth, but there's a bunch of them,
Portland,
and they do have
Portugal.
They do have a vegan cheese.
So but like certain if you're not really close to that, you can go to a Papagino's, which is a local, and get a cheeseless pizza, and then when it comes, you put the cheese on and you put it in the oven for a little bit to melt, and then you got yourself a nice little pizza. So that's what they do. But like they were talking about it, and like the pizza that they have at Fun Spot is basically like the cafeteria pizza we used to have in high school or whatever, and it's not great.
No,
but it smells like
it smells
like memories, and you're like you want it.
Yes,
even though it's like when you're eating it, you're like, it's not terrible, but it's not like something like this is the most delicious thing I've ever. It's not, but
smells like memories is a really good way of putting it.
And we got into talking about it, and he's like, and we're just like, can you just eat that pizza really close to me? And I'm like, what are you, some goddamn pizza cuck? And I needed to bring that up because it was one of my favorite lines of the night, which was full of like just
full of good
absurd
lines.
Like we were just sitting around drinking beers at the bar at Fun Spot and just like cracking each other up, and it was a really good time. So
that is, they use the word cuck also very very prominent on that Do by Friday podcast, and we're over, but I gotta bring.
We gotta do plugs too.
We gotta do plugs just really quickly. So one of the guys that hosts that show is a guy called Max Temkin, and he's one of the co-creators of Cards Against Humanity. And they had this. I follow him on Twitter, and they had done this promotion at Target. Because I guess that's one, and I had, when I went actually looking for it around Christmas time for Cards Against Humanity, I couldn't remember which was it Walmart, was it Target?
I don't think it would be Walmart, because Walmart is like blah 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 Christian values.
But I couldn't remember. But
so
they've long associated with Target as one of their primary ways of getting stuff out there aside from their website. Well, they did this promotion along with another game called Exploding Kittens. Have you ever played Exploding Kittens?
Yes, I actually have.
So the two of those people combined together for something called the Hidden Compartment Pack. Now, the Hidden Compartment Pack, the idea was...
Why are we giving these fuckers so many plugs?
No, but this...
Advertise on our fucking show.
No, but this is
you
why
just send them a direct DM and be like, yeah, we just gave you a fucking really long ad at the end of our show.
No, but it's not necessarily... I'm not doing this for the ad, even though I love the product, and I wish I had somebody to play Cards Against Humanity with, but I don't.
Oh, come on, play with your kids.
I played Exploding Kittens with them.
What did they think of that?
They loved it. I did not buy the not safe for work version. I bought the normal version, which is ages 7 and up.
Okay.
But And so in that regard, their strategy worked because I had never owned Exploding Kittens, but I went out to get the this hidden compartment pack or secret compartment, whichever, which had some cards for Cards Against Humanity and some for Exploding Kittens. I was like, well, if I'm going to have Exploding Kittens cards, I might as well buy this game.
Yeah.
So it worked. But what was supposed to happen was you're supposed to go into Target and you see this big display and you find out through the grapevine that there's a hidden compartment in the display where you can find these packs. Like, that's what Target was supposed to do. And in some Targets, they did it. But in most Targets, including the one in Lowell, Massachusetts, the hidden compartment pack was just sitting on a stack on the end cap. I was like completely destroying the fucking point of the whole thing.
Ah, well.
And
what are you gonna do?
I mean, you're not going to do anything. It's just that, like, I like them as a company, Cards Against Humanity, because they try to do these creative things.
Didn't they also make Secret Hitler?
Yes, those same guys made Secret Hitler.
So and didn't they send it to every member of Congress after
yes.
after our good president was elected?
I mean, and they famously, not famously, but in the Apple Tech podcast community, which I tangentially know of, they famously, and instead of ads once, sent toasters to this one guy to review, because the guy was famously not the guy, the puppy guy. That's our encounter with him. Was that puppy guy reviewed reviewed toasters on his podcast instead of them plugging Cards Against Humanity. And I thought that was hilarious, and it worked, because eventually that was one of the reasons I bought the damn game, which basically I just use for inspirations for really rotten stories and poems right now.
Cool,
because I got nobody to play with.
All right, talking about bags and bags.
Talking about plugs and plugs. You can find the show notes for this episode at clarkwoods.com/hot/161. And if you have anything you'd like to say to us, you can email us like Matt did. That's hot@clarkwoods.com. Or you can tweet us. I'm at ECC1977.
And I'm at Tuesday is Loser. That's Tuesday IS Loser, all one word. I've been stuck at like 130 followers for a really long time. Can you guys, like somebody that listens that doesn't actually follow me, do that?
And if you're not on Twitter, create an account and follow Steve.
Yeah.
That's not too much to ask.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually ever have to go on to it, but
No.
you can just follow me, so it seems like I'm cooler.
Yeah.
I think
we need everyone in the world to understand exactly how cool you are. I don't think they do yet.
Well, I don't tweet a lot.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's not the content of your tweet. It's
the content of my character.